Hello, welcome to the Redmen TV. It is the Champions League semi-final build-up show. It's Barcelona, it's Liverpool, it's the Nou Camp. It's Messi against the best player in the world, Virgil van Dijk. It is going to be some game of football. I'm joined by Tom, by Bailey and by Ross Chanley to preview this game. Tom, this is not a fucking drill. Liverpool are actually playing Barcelona in the Champions League semi-final.
We're exactly back where we want to be, aren't we? We're playing these massive teams. We were speaking about how we've missed Messi. You know what I mean? We haven't seen. We saw him at the start of his career. Now we're probably seeing him at the end. But we're finally getting to see Lionel Messi playing at his peak at Anfield, and I can't wait. I really want. I know it's the Nou Camp first, but just seeing Liverpool play against Messi, playing against this amazing historic side. But we're at that level now. That's the best thing, is we're both going toe to toe. It's not going to be, oh, we're going to sit back. I think we're going to go for it, because why not? It's what's worked for us all season. It's going to be, for the neutral, it's going to be some game.
Tom mentions it, Bailey, 2007, I think, was the last time we played Barcelona, and, we did well against them back then, but it was a young Lionel Messi. This is Lionel Messi, who scored something like 40 goals in his last 10 seasons. I mean, it's ridiculous, and I'm not even adding them up together. I mean, 40 goals in every season for the last 10 or something. It's just so exciting, and Tom's right, we're there on our own merits right now, and as a fan, that's fucking fantastic.
It's these big games. I don't particularly remember that 2007 game very well. I would have been, like 8, something like that, but I do remember 2014 Real Madrid, where they came to Anfield and we got battered 3-0 with the likes, Markovic, Balotelli, Joe Allen in midfield, Johnson, who at the time were pretty good footballers, but we're so evolved past that now, where it was sort of, Real Madrid came to us and I was like, let's just see if we can hold out. I mean, we've inevitably got battered. This is a team that can go out and, like Tom said, go toe-to-toe in every position on that pitch, and I'm so excited because I feel like it is going to be, it's not just Messi, Van Dijk, it's going to be, whose fullbacks are better, because we play a similar sort of attacking fullback style, whose midfield will come out on top, because we've all got star-studded talent, like dripped across both of those 11s, and it's like when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, and it will be like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Paul will be proud of you. Yeah. He loves that line. Paul's not here, but he'll be proud of you. He's sending his well wishes. Ross, is it literally just a case of pick your best side at this point?
Yeah, but I don't know what the best side is, but it's healthy competition. I think we've all spoke about throughout the season. He's developed this in his side, and I think you can set yourself up for different teams. I think the guys are right. Tom says we go out all for it, but I'm kind of thinking we might go a bit more like a Rafa European thing, a bit more conservative, and come back to Anfield and then go for it. But everyone's in decent form at the business end of the season, which is only a good thing for us. And the best thing about it was there was a thing on beIN Sports, and Barcelona didn't want us. No one wants us in any of the rounds of this thing, because we're set up for European football. All know that Klopp's not won a European tie since a two-legged tie. Since he's been
not lost one.
Yeah, at Liverpool. So it's mad to say we've come this far. Yet we're kind of we're not underdogs, but we're level with Barcelona, who've got this European pedigree and have sustained that for the amount of years that you said with Messi and co. over a long period of time, and to be up there with them, be in the conversation again, is good for us.
I can't wait for this game, and I genuinely just, it's even better the fact that it's the Nou Camp first for me. We've had Bayern Munich, where we've had to play the home leg first. We've had Porto, we've had to play the home leg first. This is what you want. Yeah. When you get to a semi-final stage, you want to go away with this side that we've got, the counter-attacking football that we're able to play, Tom. Go there, try and sneak an away goal, and get them back to Anfield, because I don't think Liverpool can be out of this tie, even at 3-0 down. I don't see that we're out of this tie, and I don't think Barcelona will think that we're out of this tie, but it's important for them that they don't concede a goal and that they do score goals, because they're going to, I think, struggle when they come to Anfield.
No, it is going to be interesting. I want to see how both teams set out, to be honest. Are they going to play their own game and not even worry about the other team? Are they going to play a little bit more reserved, just to make sure that we don't catch them on the break? Because I think that's what we're going to do. They have 60% possession most games in the Champions League. We only have 52.5% possession in the Champions League. So I've got a feeling that, look, we are going to... we like to have a bit of possession, sure, but I feel like we're just going to spring on them. And I can't wait to see that, because they like to push their fullbacks up, like Bailey's talking about. I mean, Jordi Alba's on 12 assists in La Liga and Champions League, so he's going to be getting up there. It's whether we want to stay defensive with our right back, or we want to just push him back, and it's just going to be the war of attrition on which midfielder is going to track which fullback. You know what I mean? It's very, very interesting, but that's what we watch. We watch these big games for this. There's been so many times you're watching these football games and last season especially going through the Champions League, but we played Bayern Munich and done them. It's another chance, it's another opportunity for us to get a test and just go, yeah, we're better than this. We can stand up to this test, and it might be our biggest one yet. I know Real Madrid was big last season, but Barcelona are unbelievable. Messi is unbelievable.
Well, they're 18 points ahead of Real Madrid in La Liga, aren't they? I think they're 9 points ahead of Atletico Madrid at this stage, you know, the 35 games into the La Liga or whatever. They've come through a relatively tough group, Barcelona. I think they had Tottenham Hotspur, they had Inter Milan, and they had PSV Eindhoven. They won 4 and drew 2 of those games. And, you know, since then they've had Lyon, they've obviously put Man United out. And what's interesting, actually, I'll come back to something Tom mentioned there about the fullbacks. And I think when you think of this Liverpool side and you think of those battles on the wings and are fullback going to be pushed back and is it going to be that war of attrition that Tom mentioned? I don't think it will be, to be honest, because it's not the fullback's job to cover his own position in this Liverpool side, whereas I think in Barcelona's side it still is the fullback's job. If Jordi Alba gets forward, I believe he has to get back. Well, at Liverpool, it's based on the midfield. And if the midfield is, for example, Gini Wijnaldum or it's James Milner, then Chen can go forwards because he trusts those lads to cover for him. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But the midfield for me is the key one, Bailey. Who do you think Klopp will probably go with for that midfield three?
It's a tough one. You know, going through my preferred 11, I've put Gini in there, but I think actually I'd prefer Fabinho.
Who do you think Klopp will play?
But yeah, so getting to that, I think that it will be that Gini, Milner, Henderson sort of midfield that we've seen throughout this Champions League performance. And I've said it before, I think that's a lot of people have called it the Brexit midfield. I think we're way past that now with the performances they've put in post the group stages. But I think that is the malleable midfield, you know, because like you say, it's that both teams play 4-3-3. Both teams are attacking the same sort of style, utilise full-backs, utilise the midfield. So I think he fields that and just feels out what Barcelona are going to do, because I've gone Trent at right back, and I think Klopp will go Trent at right back and just play them at their own game. Say, well, if you think we're going to deal with your press, deal with ours. You know, ours are equally as good as yours, if not better. So I think that midfield is going to be key, and I think Klopp goes with what he knows, and I think he's going to play that midfield and then analyse from there. You know, if Gini's not holding up well in that 6 and they're breaking through, then maybe he brings that Fabinho into the game. If we need, you know, a different attacking outlet at the top of the midfield, then maybe we bring Naby Keita in the form that he's in right now. But Tom's right; it's going to be immensely interesting to see just how tactically sort of this plays out.
Ross, who do you think of the midfielders that are up for grabs in this game? You know, let's talk about all the midfielders and almost run through in your head why you would or wouldn't select these players.
Fabinho, I think. Obviously, because he didn't play at the weekend, he had that concussion, so he was obviously rested. But I think the form that he was in before and the job that he does, I think everyone in this room would agree. You know, he's nailed on starter for that role because of the role that he does. He allows other people to go and play. And like Bailey said, you know, people are in such fine form. I think you can probably make a case for everyone. I think Milner, you could probably say the experience, the nous that he's got, the defensive duties that we were talking about before. You know, if Trent or Gomez, whoever plays at right back, you know, you've got Milner who will do a solid job and he's calm and composed, so you could probably put him in there. Naby Keita's form has been unreal, so you feel bad if he got dropped, but you can kind of understand, again, being a bit more defensive. You know, you could do that, but then again, he's been tracking back. On Friday, he was a nutcase, wasn't he? He was everywhere, so you know, you feel bad for dropping him. Henderson again in that forward role, and he does his defensive duties. You could put him in there. Chamberlain probably not, because I think it's just too huge a game. I think when you're 5-0 up or whatever it was against Huddersfield.
What if he'd have scored on Friday?
What
if he'd have scored on Friday?
No, it's still too soon. It's too big to ask. He should have scored as well. And the same for Shaqiri as well. I think Shaqiri only played because we were so far ahead in that game. You know, he's too far. And then again, Gini, I think, just provides you with everything. He does things quietly, and he provides that defensive solid duty. I think we trust all the midfield, to be honest. I think there's only Chamberlain and Shaqiri that I don't think get a shout. The rest of them, for me, you can make a case for everyone in that midfield to make a start.
Tom, Virgil van Dijk, Lionel Messi, or Andy Robertson, Lionel Messi, pick your poison. Do you think Lionel Messi could be the only player that will dribble past Virgil van Dijk in a Liverpool shirt this season?
I don't want to see it happen. I mean, you'll still have the Premier League never getting dribbled past. It's one of them. You've written down here, can we stop Lionel Messi? The answer is no. You can't stop Lionel Messi when he gets going and he wants to beat a few men. He does it. The only thing you can do is what teams have done to Mo Salah and just kind of double up. And I'm assuming that it'll be Robbo, Van Dijk and Fabinho just crowding them out constantly. Whenever he picks that ball up in the midfield, Fabinho's got to be onto him. When he's on the right-hand side, Robbo's got to be onto it. And it's so tough because we've spoken so many times about Mo Salah's creating space, Firmino's creating space, Mane's creating space by getting these players doubling up. Messi, then they've got Dembele, they've got Coutinho, they've got Suarez, they've got these amazing players. So I'm really wondering just what's going to happen here because I want to see the test. I was speaking about tests before. This is one of the best strikers ever to play the game. You see him score so many different kinds of goals. You see him scoring inside the 6-yard box, outside of the box. If he picks up a bit of space, he just puts it into the bottom left-hand corner. So we've got to be so tight defensively. Midfield's going to be a massive part of that. I know we're talking about the back line and Van Dijk, but I think Van Dijk's going to be looking after Suarez. It's the midfield's job to tuck back in, close down them spaces where Messi likes to operate, and just make sure he doesn't have enough. He's going to get a chance. He's going to. He's going to get more than one chance. It's whether we can crowd that out. It's whether Alisson can make the save.
I think about it, and I think inevitably when someone as great as Lionel Messi, and you come up against someone as great as Lionel Messi, you start to think, will your man mark him? And this is the type of things. I remember watching the Champions League a few years ago, and a team man marking, apologies, I forget who it was, and it just backfires so often when your man mark Lionel Messi, because what he does, it's really interesting, is he'll just go and stand on the wing, and he'll just literally stand there if he's man marked and go, okay. And then a fella's with him, and it might have, I can't remember who it was. And the fella's just stood next to him out of the game. And all that does is create loads of space in the centre of the park, because you're always using a DM in a man-marking way, aren't you? Something like that. And then all of a sudden, you've got no DM in the centre of the pitch. I don't think you can man-mark Lionel Messi. I think he's too good anyway. Yeah. But if you do, you just leave yourself open. We know, Bailey, that Liverpool are a zonal side. You know, you can't take a man out of that because the gaps become too big. You're just going to have to trust that the players who were there, who were near him at the time, are on it. And you know what? It's going to be tough. Is it going to be Robertson? Is it going to be Van Dijk, Fabinho? Whoever it is, I'd be having a word with Mo Salah and going, what is it that you ate when people are crowding you out? Because we see it so often with Mo Salah. It's that guy that comes in late from behind him as he cuts back onto his left foot. That's the person who's key in this battle for me. And, you know, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think we'll look to man mark, or do you think, you know what, you've just got to be on it, lads?
Yeah, I think you make a really good point. I was thinking whilst you were talking about man marking it, and in my head it goes back to, I think it was the Europa League game, Manchester United and Chelsea. I think when the year that United won the Europa League. And they man-marked, they put Ander Herrera on Eden Hazard, and it worked brilliantly. Hazard didn't get a sniff of the ball, but the problem there was Hazard was playing either in the 10 or the 9, so he was in the centre of the pitch. Whereas if you played on the right wing, you're right, you can't take a central defensive midfielder out and put him this far across the pitch. It doesn't work, because Lionel Messi's brilliant, but you've still got Ousmane Dembele, Luis Suarez, Felipe Coutinho, are all world-class players that can fill in that position and still hurt you. The interesting thing for me, and I think you made a really good point in the newsroom, I don't remember which one, is sort of how Van Dijk and the defence deal with it. You know, because Van Dijk's not I'm going to close you down and sort of step in and lunge in and commit and let my Lionel Messi dribble through me. It's I'll sit off, I'll let you attack me. And then I think that's where the zonal stuff comes in. Can Robertson and Fabinho or Gini react well enough to close him down? Because that's where if he's on the right and he wants to cut inside, that's where your Fabinho and your Wijnaldum have to be like, right, I've got to follow you here. Because he's so dangerous, and I think he will. I don't think it's a case of man marking him, because one-on-one, I think Messi beats anybody in the world. Whereas I think
even 2-on-1 sometimes.
Yeah, one-on, but 2-on-1 when you've got PFA, Robbo and Van Dijk, who are sort of two of the best defenders in the league, and Fabinho and Gini Wijnaldum, who are very, very good defensive midfielders. If those three can work out a way, you know, to work a rotational system to keep an eye on him at all times, whilst not letting the space in the midfield and the wide, then I think that's sort of what we're going to see, because I don't think there's not a blueprint to mark Lionel Messi.
And the problem, Ross, with Barcelona is it's not just Lionel Messi. They've got some all right players all around the pitch, really, haven't they? You know, Tom mentioned before Dembele. We obviously know a lot about Phil Coutinho and Luis Suarez. So you can try and mark Lionel Messi out the game all you want, but there's going to be two lads in Suarez and Coutinho there who are going to want to fight and prove something to Liverpool and their fans.
Yeah, and the hardest thing is, I think, when we're talking about how you set up defensively, obviously we use the press and we use obviously trigger points when we go forward. Those three players are all capable of just beating a man and then you're fucked then, aren't you? You know, if you commit too many players, you go forward. So that's why I think we have to go a bit more defensively. I think one of the ways you can probably stop Messi is, you know, yeah, I'm a bit more confident. Like, you know, you said before, like if our fullbacks go forward, you know, then their fullbacks cover them. But then, like, you know, those players that you just mentioned are going to have to do defensive work as well. But I trust Mane, Salah and Firmino, if they're playing, that they will get back. Whereas Messi, you said, you know, he stands up on the wing. Well, if you've got two, you know, Mane and Robbo bombing forward, you've got an extra man there. So, you know, you take him out of the game by making him do defensive work, probably. But, you know, come back to your original question, it's not a criticism if Messi beats Van Dijk, is it really? Because Van Dijk's only human and Messi's
not.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, in my mind, it will happen, but, you know, it's keeping a safe result, which I think we can take back to Anfield. I think that's exactly what we'll do.
I think I agree with that, Tom, and, you know, what Ross mentions there about getting a result that we can take back to Anfield. They'll be worried about an away goal. Liverpool will be looking, I think, to hit them on the counter-attack all game long. You know, we know that Barcelona, not quite as good defensively as they have been in recent seasons. I think they've conceded, 32 in the league and 35, so nearly a goal a game. Liverpool obviously got a great defensive record this season. It's about making sure that we're not out of the tie at half-time, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and I think we're capable of that. We've shown different styles of play this whole season and last season. Since Klopp came in, we've seen different ways of doing it, and now that we're getting so much better defensively, I have no problem if we want to sit back and absorb a bit of pressure and then spring. Whatever Klopp decides to do, the players know. The players have done this before. Whoever he puts on the pitch, they're drilled. They know exactly what they need to do and how they need to do it. And that gives me such confidence in terms of we can just go, right, for this 10 minutes, we'll do this. And you know what to do if this happens. And I really do trust the fact that we'll be able to, no matter what the score is, we'll be able to enact the plan at Anfield. And that's what you're saying. Barcelona will be so scared of that. It's one of them. Are Barcelona going to give us any respite? You watched when we played City away from home, and that first half, they should have scored like 3 or 4. We got through it somehow with a lot of luck, and I think Barca are going to do that to us like that. And I'm really excited for it. No matter what happens, I'm really excited because I know you talk about from a neutral point of view, it's going to be amazing, and we'll be upset if we lose. But the amount of football games that, you know, when Liverpool are playing in a game and you're just like, this is a really good game of football. Yeah. Like, no matter what, it's a great game of football. So it's just going to be another one of them. And I trust that the players have got the nous. Klopp's got the nous. Like, we could be down 2-0 at half time and I'll still trust that we get a result. We're that good.
I think we have to be careful, sorry, Chris, that, you know, they've just been crowned champions of the Liga as well. So they're going to be full of confidence. And, you know, next weekend they're available to rest players, aren't they? Which we're not in a position to do because we're still going for the title as well. So they're going to be high on confidence as well. And they've got nothing to lose in that respect of the weekend.
That Levante game, they weren't.
No, and Manchester United, though. Man United in both legs, they weren't great at Old Trafford against the poor Man United side. And when Man United went to the new camp, within, first 10 minutes, you know, despite
there was opportunities
there, just, you know, unfortunately, they got Lukaku, who can't hit a barn door, and Rashford got in as well. So there is, you know, that gives us confidence to say, actually, with our front three, which I think we could do anyway, they are susceptible to mistakes. Okay,
well, we'll come on to preferred 11s next, but before we do, me and Paul have got a new YouTube channel. It's the Mate and Pajak channel. Here's a little clip from last week's podcast.
There's a great story from the Britannia. One of the few shared stories we have from that job was me, Chris, and a mutual friend of ours, Robin, had gone out for a night out the night before, and we got absolutely bladdered. And we ended up in, I want to say, it might have been Bato or something like that. It was one of those indie bars in town. And I had, again, this was during I have no money, I'm largely unemployed phase of my life. So I needed both of the lads around me in order to basically help me get home, to share a taxi, etc., etc. We lost you, and in order to find you, we did the old movie, let's split up because we can cover more ground. I never saw Robin again that night. I had no money to my name. I had to walk home from town, which is a good 50-minute walk. So I walked home and stopped at his house on the way back just to see if he was there. He was all right. You were flying to Barcelona with your missus the next morning at 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever. The next day, I woke up hungover to sin, and I turned up to work. And the pub had been broken into and robbed. And I turned up not knowing this, and there's police there, and I go. And bear in mind, all three of us work in this pub at the time, and you're the manager who's got access to the safe. I walk in and go, has anyone heard from Chris and Robin? Because we were out on the lash last night, and they both went missing, and I've not seen them. And you can see the police going... Takes notes down. So I you of course got on a plane and flew to another country conspicuously at the same time that the pub that you were in charge of got robbed. So that was it. I
got questioned when I came back.
Fantastic.
Okay, do go and check that one out. Feedback's been incredible so far, so thank you to everybody who has listened. It's also available on Spotify and will be available in iTunes very, very shortly. Ross, preferred 11s. We've talked a little bit about the midfield and stuff already. I imagine that's the one area of the team that we're all going to sort of differ on slightly. But formation-wise, when we were talking then, no one mentioned 4-2-3-1. I think it's been a little while. But I think if you are trying to get maybe a Naby Keita into this side, then a 4-2-3-1 might be an option. What formation did you go with?
Well, I've gone 4-3-3, but I've said this a couple of times. I think we do play a fluid formation in teams. You'll be able to tell me it's better with your stats and tactics stuff. But I think when we're in possession of the ball, we can go 4-3-3. But when we haven't got it, especially in an away tie, you can afford to go 4-2-3-1 and leave two behind to cover the full-backs that go forward. But I've gone Gomez at right back.
Interesting.
I know he hasn't started.
That's a big shout.
I know, but I think he gives... Well, the games that he's come on and he's played, I know they've been like cameo roles, and one was against Huddersfield and whatever, but I think he's been decent. I think he... Not that Trent's crap at right back defensively. I think he still needs to work on that a little bit, but I'm more confident with Gomez of just kind of being a bit more reserved, a bit more behind, and I think he brings Trent in the home game. I know people will kick off about the creativity and stuff if you don't have to get the same with Gomez as you do with Trent, but confidence-wise, I'd rather have him in there, and I put Matip in there as well. I think he deserves to keep his role. And we've seen with him as well, creativity from Matip as well. If he wants to go through the midfield of the new camp and just go on a little run, and I'm fine with that as well.
Listen, Matip didn't play on Friday night, did he? But
no.
Van Dijk decided to take up that mantle of the galloping Joel Matip role, as it were. It did. It got his Mane's header, didn't it? Yeah. Come off the back of it. So it's an important position, that centre-half. And Bailey, before we carry on with Ross's side, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, so I think this is quite important. I think it was you that mentioned about us being aggressive and being front foot defending. That's one of the reasons I'd select Matip over Dejan Lovren, because Lovren has a tendency to go full-blooded into challenges. But against this Barcelona side, I actually like the idea of Matip and Van Dijk just sort of sitting off and letting the midfield come to help you out.
Definitely, and I personally just think since of the three sort of centre-halves that we've seen this season, taking Joe Gomez out because he's had such a long spell, I think Matip's just a no-brainer over Lovren. I think he offers more stable defensive ability because, like you say, Lovren is just prone to a lunge, and we've only really seen him since he's come back against lesser teams. But we've seen Matip in European games against the likes of Bayern Munich, so I know that he's capable of being in a side that is against a top opposition. And I think you're right. I think those two have, since Matip's properly come into the side, he's learnt a lot from Van Dijk and the style that he defends in, because I've noticed that all of the things that we'd say about Matip and being soft and being sort of not being aggressive and passive enough, he's changed that. And I think that's a massive credit to being able to just sit down and listen, learn from the guy beside you who's clearly fantastic. But then it's also Matip's ability to just go through the centre. If we want to shore up shop and drop Milner or Gini back in and go, Matip, you go. Because how if you're a Spanish if you're at Barcelona and you're looking at our team, our 11, and saying, that's a threat, that's a threat, that's a threat. Who looks at Joel Matip and says, that's an attacking threat? Nobody. And whereas I think it's sort of a secret weapon in that sense. If we're on the counter, it wouldn't surprise if it's Joel Matip making a meandering run up the centre. So I think Matip is the best choice in there. So
Ross, back on to you for the start and preferred 11. Apologies. You've got Joe Gomez in at right back. Mm-hmm. Who are your midfield three?
I've gone for Fabinho, Hendo, and Gini. I think you get a bit of everything with that midfield. We spoke about before about being more reserved and stuff. I think Hendo and Gini for me are like a proper engine. So I think, they'll get forward and they'll track back and they'll cover the full-backs. I think you get that. Do you know what? I could have picked 4 or 5 options at midfield that we discussed before. You can make a shout for anyone. Keita was the one that I struggled with, to be honest. I think, maybe Keita over Hendo. I don't know. People have different options. I think all the fans could have different options. Milner, again, I did toy with over Gini because, I said before about his his calmness, his experience. I think he kind of need that. But again, I come back to the engine thing. I think, you know, they've both got all three of them got loads of legs in them for this game. I think it's going to be end-to-end intense stuff, and I think that's our best option in my opinion.
Okay, Bailey, let's talk a little bit about your preferred 11 then. Obviously, we're going to guess that you've gone with Alisson in goal.
Yes.
Back five, have you picked Gomez or Trent?
Trent. So I think that whilst I completely get your argument with Gomez, I think, to be honest, if we were going to pick a defensive player, I'd put Milner there at right back, which is sort of one that no one's really paid credence to, because then you get the best of both worlds. It's the midfield is tough for me because I've gone Gini, Milner and Henderson, but then I'd also like Fabinho in there. So if it was a case of, right, we're going defensive like we saw against PSG, and you drop, because obviously we didn't have a choice there, but he had a really good game at Anfield against the likes of Neymar, so I could see Milner being at right back. But I've gone Trent because it's Jordi Alba. You know, he's, whilst we sort of say, you know, we have to be defensive, he can also be easily cut out on the break. And whilst Trent might not be the best defensively, I think that what he is good at is passing. You know, if you've got Jordi Alba that's committed high up the pitch and Salah can drop right in behind, how many times have we seen that loop ball just round the side, sort of touching the byline and Salah's away? So I think that I'd put Trent in there just for his ability of pass and getting forward personally.
And we've all gone the same front three. I think that's pretty obvious, Tom. But, so the question to you then is what back four and midfield three have you selected?
So I told you Gomez. I've now changed that because while I was looking at it, I've got Gomez. I put Gomez at right back. I've now put Trent there. And the reason I've changed it is because I'm looking at it and going, what's our most effective right-hand side? And the past few games, it's been that Trent, Hendo, Salah as a three, creating loads of space for each other, just being fantastic. And I don't think Gomez is probably on that wavelength yet, which is fair because you've got to be at a world-class level to be on that wavelength. They're all fantastic. They all gel so well. And that is something that Jordi Alba is going to have to be careful of. And whoever it is, whether it's Rakitic or Vidal covering that, you can't cover that. There's going to be opportunities created. I put Milner on the left-hand side of my midfield, and that's purely to cover Robbo. Let Robbo go up top, push them back, whoever it is, and Milner can fill in, and he's fantastic at that. And obviously Fabinho's in there just for that stability. He lets Henderson do that job further forward. He lets Milner kind of tuck in and be that rock in the middle and on the left. Sorry, I think that is the team that has to play. You're looking at how well we've played with that, and I know Gini's been in there, but you've got to look to cover. Milner's got to cover for Lionel Messi and be aware of that. And then I think that the Trent, Hendo, Salah trio is top draw at the moment. No team can live with that. Can Barca? I don't know, don't think so.
So you've obviously selected James Milner. Are you then looking at that going, James, leave one in on Lionel?
He's got to. You've seen it so many. He did it to Neymar. He's done it to so many players. Go in and hurt them. He's had so much. He'll be hurting from that time. It gets shown all the time when Lionel Messi megs him when he's playing for City, and it gets shown all the time. James Milner getting megs by the best player in the world. Just hurt him, lad. I'm not saying put him out of the game. You never want to see that. I want to see Lionel Messi play at the top of his level.
Let him know you're there.
Yeah, let him know. Put him into the stands. That's what he did to Neymar. That's what he's done to so many players. And you get pissed off and he's like, I'm what? I'm James Milner, mate. What are you going to do?
The problem with that is Messi's probably the player that can deal with that the best out of anyone I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The amount of highlight reels I've seen of just people having a go at him and he just stays on his feet.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm too good.
That's how Ramos defends against them.
Like, you want to take me out and hack at my heels, I'll stay on my feet. I don't need to go for a penalty because I can beat all of you.
It's not heels, it's there. You go in there, give him a dead leg and put him on the sidelines.
The old dead leg?
Yeah.
Nice.
Hurt him.
Maybe with a knee.
Yeah, so it's not too bad.
Flick his ear while you're there.
Expecting James Milner to come in, like, people's elbow straight to his jaw.
He would do. James Milner would do anything. I genuinely believe that, but I think you're right. Little reducer, start him off. Fabinho's capable of doing it as well. And then by that point, then Lionel Messi's had a kick off James Milner, a kick off Fabinho, and now he's got Van Dijk backing up. And you're like, what am I meant to do?
Yeah, okay. Well, my preferred 11 for what it's worth is very similar to it's an amalgamation of everything, really, I suppose. I've gone with the normal back five. I've gone Trent and Matip as part of that, Van Dijk, Robertson, of course. Fabinho, Henderson and Wijnaldum is my midfield three. I think that's the same as yours, Ross, isn't it? I think Wijnaldum's been brilliant this season, but I never really considered Keita for this one. My considerations were, is it Wijnaldum or is it James Milner? And I think Keita's a lad that you can bring in after that, if everything's going well, or if it's the fans, you know what I mean? And then it's the front three for me.
Is that because of his defensive duties with Keita?
Yeah.
Is that purely what it's
Yeah.
like? Even though he did it the other day?
Yeah, he did it against the side that are absolutely shit and got about fucking 2 points in the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
They're down. He's yet to show me that he can do it against one of the big boys in Europe. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's one of them, how you get experience without experience. It's one of those. Right now, I think Klopp trusts the players that he's got and that he knows can do it and stuff. So yeah, that's massive for me. Rival fixtures. It's only Spurs and Ajax. They're the only teams left.
Game.
Tuesday night, 8 p.m. at
VAR,
Tottenham's new grounds. They'll all be wearing the VAR caps. They're going to love that. The route to the final is very much ran through Barcelona at this point, lads. So before we get into it and we get any further along, what are your score predictions? And we'll start with you, Ross.
1-1. I can't not see Messi scoring. I think he's just absolutely nailed on to go and do it. And that's not a criticism of us. Like I said before, he's superhuman, so why wouldn't it happen? But I'm confident that every team that we play, that we will score goals. And as I said before, they played United and there was options there. Obviously their front three or whatever they use is dog shit. Ours isn't. Ours is world class, and ours are in fine form as well. I think probably the best time to play Huddersfield is going into Barcelona. Okay, you said they were crap, but the confidence, Mane got 2 goals, Mo got 2 goals, Bobby didn't play, so Bobby's going to be fresh as well. We all know his defensive duties that he does. I just think it's going to be hard for Barcelona to cope with all that.
I think 3-1, personally. I think we'll definitely concede, because, like you say, Messi's...
3-1 to us?
To us, yeah. Okay. Because, sorry, I don't think I've ever predicted a loss.
No, I don't think anyone has.
No, so...
9 years, mate.
But what did you say it was? Was it 38 something the goal difference was? Or goals conceded? But it was like they've only ever seen our front three and our attacking options sort of in highlight reels, and in folklore, sort of from how threatening we were in the Champions League last year. I don't think Langlet and what's their Semedo or Roberto, their right back, can deal with firepower we've got. I think we will run their defence ragged.
Confidence is high in Camp Nou.
I was genuinely considering a 2-1 loss, and then I made sure it's a 2-2. I don't see us conceding more than 2, but I do see us conceding 2, if that makes sense. I really do feel like, Lionel Messi's going to get 2. He's going to get 2. He's fantastic. He's not going to dribble past Van Dijk to do it, but he's going to get 2 because he's just that good. But I really feel like, look, a 2-2 draw is very good for us. 2-1 is very good for us. We're not out of it at all. I just feel like with the firepower they've got, like you said before, coming off winning La Liga, they're just going to go for it. And we've seen sometimes when we saw PSG away, when they went for it, we struggled, and that's just what it is. You're playing against a fantastic side, so 2-2.
I'm going to say it's a really strange first half and 0-0, really cagey affair first half, and then the game just explodes into life second half and we win it 3-2. 5 second half goals. And I just got a feeling it either someone scores in the first 5 minutes that opens the game up, or no one scores in the first half.
I think there'll be a penalty as well.
A penalty in the game.
For us.
I could see it either way.
Oh, VAR, that can't be arsed.
Oh, no, not when you're in the ground as well.
Do you reckon it's going to be another one of them where it's just across the line, but it's across the line, but then there was a handball in the build-up? Who knows? I don't want it.
Those handballs are the fucking worst for VAR. Get in the bin, VAR. I hate you.
Unless we win.
Hate you, unless we win, in which
and
case...
they knock City out. So.
Yeah, it's true.
I like VAR.
You like it now?
Yeah.
Let us know what you think, your score prediction, and let us know your preferred 11 in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the Redmen TV on YouTube, and don't forget to check out MXP as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Ta-ra.